You'll find this list below. Trump has pardoned 237 criminals, including rapists and drug dealers. They all had one thing in common. They donated and supported him. He's hired Goldman Sachs and Wall Street insiders and bank executives to key roles, all while claiming he'll stand up to Wall Street and the banks. Says he's great friends with the major banks and yet claims to drain the swamp. He's filed bankruptcies 11 times. Over 3 decades, he's been in 3,500 lawsuits for over $369 million in unpaid services. One bankrupted business owner, being owed $4.2 million, committed suicide. He stole millions from 8 charities and with his sham university and paid settlements in both, and has now allotted $7 million from Hurricane Helene. He sought $1 billion from oil CEOs to retake the House, and in return pledged to do whatever they wanted, even scrapping environmental regulations and the electric vehicle. Big oil, coal, and land development tycoons hold fundraisers for Trump, ensuring his policies will benefit only them. In contrast, only one gave to Biden and VP Harris. They actually sent the money back. By 2020, 14 Trump aides, donors, and advisors have been indicted or imprisoned, committing crimes of very serious offenses, including George Nader, who pleaded guilty to child sex trafficking and possession of porn, and others. He's put several felons in key administrative positions. He's lowered taxes on the wealthy, his donors, by $1.9 trillion and raised taxes on the poor. He told his nephew to just let your handicapped son die since he doesn't remember you. He disallowed blacks to rent his complexes and has been witnessed using the N-word. He cries election interference, and yet he's on audio insisting officials find 10,000 plus votes. He placed fake electors in key counties, and election volunteers were ruthlessly intimidated and told, "We'll kill your families slowly." The courts, some even appointed by Trump after repeated exhaustive investigations, dismissed Trump's 50 voter fraud lawsuits. Trump recently hired a specialist for $750,000 to find election interference. The investigator emphatically found none. The Trump campaign is suing the Veterans Administration to disallow veterans from voting there. In a Fox interview, Trump admitted having the right to election interference. Disconcertingly, 239 election deniers have slowly infiltrated and been placed in swing states to oversee the election. He said, "I'll make it so you won't have to vote again once I get in." And the insidious voter suppression goings on behind the scenes is too detailed to list here. I'll link some below. A tough border bill was nearly enacted and agreed upon, but Trump told his Republican cronies to reject it. So they killed the bill, a sneaky move to blame Harris for purported border issues, which he does routinely. He calls vets losers and suckers and blamed POW John McCain for getting captured. Yet he himself dodged the draft 4 times. He paid someone to take his college entrance exam. He nullified an Obama-backed rule that disallowed those with mental illnesses from acquiring a gun. Ironically, a mentally unstable Republican made an attempt on his life. On January 6, Trump then his supporters made calls to kill Pence, Congress, police, and anyone who stood in their way. After pleas, he wouldn't deter them. After police and others died and were injured, his main response was to boast about the crowd size. He's under investigation for, while in office, he illegally received over $30 million, $20 million of it in a loan from foreign, mainly dictatorial countries in order to gain favoritism, putting U.S. interests and safety at risk. He has the worst environmental record in history, curbing back many oil pollution and other emission rules. Trump's convicted of 34 felonies, and 26 women have publicly accused him of sexual assault, kissing, and groping without consent. All unrelated. One woman says Trump violently raped her at an orgy when she was just 13 years old. After receiving multiple death threats, she has since dropped the lawsuit but still stands by her claim. He and Republicans cut funding for vets and others by 2/3. In Project 25, a video of him gleefully praising, he later feigned no idea of it because of its unpopularity. In Project 25, he will cut Social Security, Medicare, paid leave, the Affordable Care Act, disallow pre-existing conditions for insurance, and has stated and voted against unions, overtime pay, and minimum wage. Trump and Republicans reject capping gas prices and rent control, which the Democrats proposed, and want to raise the retirement age more. Democrats capped exorbitant prices on many medicines under Biden. Project 25 will do away with that. Will do away with no-fault divorce and with any aid after natural disasters. Trump officials withheld $20 billion for Puerto Rico in the devastation from Hurricane Maria and obstructed any investigation into it. He calls his supporters basement dwellers and has made other disparaging remarks. and has angered and drained many supporters, particularly seniors' bank accounts via undisclosing of revolving monthly donations and other schemes. He stole $636.7 million in tax dollars for himself through various misappropriations while in office. Republican devotees routinely divert taxpayer donation dollars to Trump even now. His trade policies cost the U.S. economy nearly 250,000 jobs and bankrupted many small farmers. He claims windmills cause cancer and suggests nuking hurricanes several times to military officials and other crazy ideas. He implied to fire and fill all positions with only his loyalists. He vowed there'll be a bloodbath if I'm not elected in November. He boasted of and stole 300 classified documents from the White House, some at top secret level, which can compromise Americans if misused. When agents finally came to seize them, he, then Melania, cried about Americans losing their freedoms. Trump and Republicans continually lie that Democrats will remove the Second Amendment to bear arms. Democrats have never proposed any such ban. They've only ever pushed for background checks and assault weapon bans. These magazine style are used in mass shootings and take out entire rooms of people, such as you find in the daily mass shootings, not necessary for self-defense nor hunting. These are lies continuously spread by Trump and Republicans. He claims he's immune and can even shoot someone on the street and get away with it, and yet in the same breath cries witch hunts and victimhood. Sonia Massey called police for help. She was instead killed by the cop claiming self-defense. Right after Trump vowed police would have total immunity. In other words, they can kill, grape, do anything with no impunity. He claims abortion can be permissible if one is graped. And yet, as of September 2024, 2 women have died and 64,000 raped women have been forced to deliver babies in 14 states since Roe v. Wade was overturned in 2022. And many are being prosecuted for miscarrying. $10 billion in various COVID aid was somehow diverted toward vaccines. These monies seemed to get used up and disappeared quickly. Trump posted a fake AI of Taylor Swift endorsing him, even while knowing Swift endorsed Kamala. Swift notified him to stop. Trump's allies threatened holy war against Swifties. Trump, after this, tweeted in all caps, "I hate Taylor Swift," creating more danger to her. He cries free speech and cancel culture, yet supports book bans, continually threatens opposers with prison or General Milley with death, insists they'll take away take away our freedoms and free speech, and several times posted he will undo the Constitution. His former wife, Ivana, who alleged she was raped by Trump, but removed the allegation, who died by falling down the stairs, said he kept a book of Hitler's speeches by his bedside. In 2020, he had adopted explicit neo-Nazi and white nationalist imagery and symbols by his campaign and coddles David Duke and other bigots. He said will be a unified Reich, but took down the video after too much backlash. He claims he received $1 million from his father, but in fact received $413 million. He had debts of $4 billion at one point. The Russian mafia, he says they paid top dollar, bailed him out by laundering money into his businesses in around 25 countries. He had affairs on 3 wives, and while Melania was home alone with a newborn. He's left unpaid invoices for use of venues and security across states and owes more than $100 million in taxes. There's whispers of Netanyahu having proposed a ceasefire peace plan, and that Trump told him to hold off until he's in office, so as to not fare well for Harris. He spouts hate against migrants, has called for illegal border crossing and drug dealers' death penalty, and yet still to this day routinely hires undocumented workers. Crimes went up 20% under Trump. They reduced significantly under Biden. He said we'll have to put women and their beautiful children in prisons, quote. During his term, when there was outrage at the horrid conditions and children were raped and died, Trump's administration's only response was, "It's not our fault." After demanding the death penalty for the Central Park Five, even after they'd spent years in jail and were discovered innocent, when asked, he refused to recant his statement. After a Trump enthusiast nearly killed Pelosi's husband with a hammer, Trump and his son mocked Pelosi. Trump told Elon Musk to fire his workers for protesting of unfair working conditions. Fact-checking whatever he accuses another of, you will usually find it's he who has done that very crime. And his accused are innocent. You can fill an encyclopedia of this. In fact, after accusatory 1-year exhaustive investigation into the Hunter Biden case, nothing illegal was found, yet the lie keeps going. He owned pageants and behaved very creepily toward the women, even running into dressing rooms with naked teens. I ask you, please share, spread, save this. Use this on your YouTube channel, word for word. Bring this to social media. Put this under comments, email. If everybody told one person, especially in swing states, I believe we can divert this dictator, this tyrant, from taking over and literally destroying, I think, the earth. So please, people, get out and vote and vote blue. Thank you.